What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Now today I've got for you some classic entitled parent stories, starting off with this one, in which an entitled Karen tries to rob a store because there are no adults manning the tills. There is a 14-year-old though who's working at the store, but no, this Karen decides that because there's no adult here, she's gonna try and steal everything. Entitled Karen thinks they are entitled to everything in a store because the cashier isn't there. Okay, to get this story started, I am still 14 and I don't work. This happened 2 days ago. I like to help out at this corner store on my street after closing time, like restocking shelves and checking expiry dates and whatnot, because I know the person that runs the place. And, especially during COVID and having a new child at the time, the owner, or the cashier, has to close earlier due to putting their child to bed. So anyway, fast forward to 2 days ago and I'm restocking shelves. And a woman, let's call her Karen for this story, walks right into the store with her roughly 8-year-old son and asked me where the cashier was. So I said in the back and added that she shouldn't be in here. This is the conversation that followed. Why shouldn't I be here? Well, because the store is closed right now, and I'm sorry for any inconvenience. Well, some kid isn't going to tell me what to do. Well, you probably should listen to me if you don't want to get in trouble, Mum. Since the store's closed, why are you even here? Because I like to help people out and I'm helping out the owner right now? Well, since the cashier isn't here right now, I could just take all of this stuff for free. No, just because the cashier isn't here. But Karen cuts me off and proceeds to take random things off the shelves and put them into her own basket. Her son is actually whispering to his mum that she should just stop and leave. Then the owner, the cashier, walks in from the back to check in. And Karen looks surprised that they are right here in front of her, and we all watch her face lose all sign of colour. So I told the owner everything, and Karen just got escorted out of the store. I know, not too entitled like almost every other entitled parent in this subreddit, but still, entitled for sure. Let's just say I got rewarded some free chocolate for the whole thing. I mean, what a horrible woman. So pretty much just because there wasn't an adult working there, she thought, you know what, screw the law, I'm just gonna steal everything inside? What? Why? Like, a lot of stores have security cameras anyway. Just because there's a 14-year-old there doesn't mean he's not going to alert the owner that someone has stolen a lot of produce from the store, and your face is just going to be all over the security cameras anyway, so I don't really get the long-term play here. And also, how much is she stealing? Maximum, what, $20? Just pay the money. It's so weird. Why? Before we move on to our second story, I firstly want to say a big thank you to the Ridge wallet for sponsoring today's video. Some of you may remember that about a year or so ago, the Ridge sponsored a few of my videos. And since then, I've literally used this wallet every single day, and I mean every single day. The best thing about it, in my opinion, is that it's so lightweight. As you can see, it's small, it's perfect. You keep your cards in the front right here, in this little section right here, and then any cash you may have as well can fit in here. And if you listen to it, you hear that? That's not breaking anytime soon. With Father's Day coming up soon, I reckon this bad boy might make a great little gift for your dad. There are loads of different designs and colors on the website. Please do go and check it out using the link in the description down below. I mean, look, I got this one for my dad. It's a pretty colorful number, and I know what you're thinking, but he likes colors. So, I think this one is going to do the trick for him. Oh, and also, guys, if you use my code Redditor at checkout, you'll get a 10% discount on your order, which is pretty substantial. So once again, a big thank you to Ridge for sponsoring this video. Guys, all the links you'll need are down below in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Let's get back into the video. Right then, moving on to our next story. Woman lets her dog go after my horse even after I was thrown from it because it's a herding dog. It's a beautiful day outside. Birds are singing, flowers are blooming. On days like these, it's an absolutely perfect day for riding. It's the first non-rainy day. I've got no plans for this week, and I've been wanting to get back in the saddle for a while, now that winter is over. So me and my mum get our horses ready and head out. We live in the countryside, specifically Amish country, so horses are really common around here. My neighbor has horses. The neighbor on our other side actually sold us their horse when they moved because they couldn't take him. I even saw a lady riding down the street a couple of days ago. The point is, horses are not a rare sight, and these dogs should have been used to seeing them and known better. We were heading down the road and about to pass a house with a barn opposite it, when two dogs came sprinting from the yard behind the house. One was, I believe, a black lab, and the other a little Australian cattle dog. My mum managed to stop her horse in time and keep her calm, but I didn't have time to react before the cattle dog came biting at my horse's legs. Tinkerbell understandably panicked, which I don't blame her for, and I knew I couldn't hold on when she bolted, so I took my feet out of the stirrups and pushed myself off into the grass so I could go down on my own volition. I hit my head, landed on my shoulder. Thank God I was wearing a helmet. The headache and ache in my shoulder still hasn't gone away, and I can't imagine how much worse it could have been. Next, a lady came out of the house with her phone in her hand and half-heartedly called the dogs in. Thank F my horse didn't bolt down the road. She actually came back, and once I was off the ground, I took her reins and led her back next to Jetta and my mum. The lab walked back up the driveway, closer to her house, but the cattle dog was still barking at me and Tinkerbell. And I'll be honest, I was about a second away from kicking this dog myself. That's if my horse didn't get to it first. My mum asked the woman to call her dog back, and she said, "You pretty much just have to walk past her," completely ignoring the fact that I just went down and her dog was still going after us, barking and getting far closer to my horse than either of us were comfortable with. Again, my mum asked her to get her dog, and the woman said that she was a herding dog and that she couldn't do anything about it, calling her dog back one time, which it ignored, and then just going back to her phone. The audacity of this woman to let her dog just go after my horse without doing anything to stop it because it's a herding dog, and telling us to just go past the house when it's still going after my horse. A car had been coming down the road, and it turned into the driveway, so the dog moved out of the way back into the yard finally. I only got back on my horse after we were far, far away, and we had a nice 4-hour ride after that incident, though I wasn't interested in going much faster than a slow walk because of my headache. While our dogs do bark at horses going by, they do not charge at them, and our little border collie knows well enough not to go nipping at a horse's heels. Please, for the love of God, if you're in a rural area like this and your dogs aren't used to horses, keep them on a leash or behind a fence, be it physical or electric. If anything, that's good advice for your dog as well as the horse. If you have a dog that's coming nibbling at a horse's legs, one kick to the head, that dog's done. So I don't really get why this woman wasn't more careful. Fair enough if she didn't care about the horse or you or your mum, but surely about her own dog. You wouldn't want your own dog running after a horse, a massive animal that's very powerful and trying to bite its legs. That dog is going to be in serious danger. That's what I don't quite get with this story. Fair enough if she didn't really care about anything else apart from her own dog, but it felt like she didn't even care about her own dog. It felt like she cared about nothing, to be honest, just her phone and probably social media, and that's that. A strange woman, once again. It's to be expected though, isn't it? Now moving on to our final story, and guys, to be honest, this entitled person might be the most entitled character we've met so far in this episode. Best friend turns out to be the most deluded, entitled person ever. My story begins 7 years ago. I first met this entitled douchebag when he auditioned for a local drama group I was in. We were putting on a pantomime, and the bloke got the part of pantomime dame. After 2 months of rehearsing, he was terrible. We had 2 months left, and the director offered me the part of pantomime dame, saying that the entitled douchebag and I would switch parts. Instead though, I offered to give him private coaching, allowing him to save face with family and friends. So once a week, I'd go to his flat, apartment to you Americans, and we'd have a private rehearsal so I could help him. From those rehearsals, we became mates. He immediately called us best mates. After a while, he introduced me to a friend of his who we'll call AD, or Awesome Dude. Now this awesome dude managed to get this entitled douchebag an online radio show and fought to keep him on air. This is important for later. The entitled douchebag started inviting me to join him at charity pub quizzes. We'd form a team and pay money to take part. It was here where his entitledness began to show. He insisted that we only wrote his answers down, even when I knew he was wrong and I had to write the answers down to just keep the peace. If he didn't know an answer, he'd have a hissy fit, excuse himself and go to the toilet, and then look up the answer on his phone. Oh my god, that is the worst sort of person. Sorry, it's a charity pub quiz and you're cheating. That is actually despicable. Sorry to interject, but my god. When it was revealed he got an answer wrong, he'd have another tantrum. I became so embarrassed with this behavior that I just refused to go to any pub quizzes with him ever again. I also used to play cribbage with the entitled douchebag. We were partners on a team on a local pub league. Whenever we'd lose, he'd be in such a foul mood for the rest of the night. Now, I couldn't leave the team because I was the only one who would willingly partner him. The rest of the players in the league hated him because of how he behaved. Now, let's bring back the awesome dude. This dude and I would often take the mickey out of the entitled douchebag, but it was always friendly banter. However, the entitled douche never liked this. Even though he happily took the mickey out of us, he didn't want us to return the favour. Also, the entitled douchebag became an uncle last year and would often tell us what toys he'd like to buy his nephew, including a toy train. Again, this is important for later. So, we are now in 2020 at the time of this story. The virus has arrived and the pandemic has begun. We're in lockdown. During lockdown, the entitled douchebag, the awesome dude, and I would have a video call once a week to make sure we were all doing okay. At this point, the entitled douche has moved back in with his parents after being screwed over financially by his ex. Back in April 2020, I received a message from my most recent ex that featured a screenshot of a convo between the entitled douche and my ex while we were an item. The convo basically was the entitled douche telling my ex how many times a day he was pleasuring himself thinking of her. And by the way, this is all while he's in a relationship with another woman. I confronted him about this, and he admitted he'd sent the messages but couldn't see that he'd done anything wrong. Lockdown eased slightly, and the awesome dude and I agreed to meet with the entitled douche. But suddenly, he decided to go to London with his girlfriend. He then posted a photo on Facebook showing where he was eating. The awesome dude commented that he could buy trains there, hence the toy trains for the entitled douche's nephew. Now, the entitled douche told us he was going to London with his dad to see a train named after his dad's best friend, who had sadly passed away. So, when the entitled dude saw the awesome dude's comment about getting the trains, he then messaged us and called out the awesome dude for taking the mickey out of his dad's best friend's death. I tried to tell him he'd read too much into it and got it wrong, but he refused to listen. At this point, I'd been receiving messages from the last 3 women I'd gone out with. All the women I'd gone out with during my friendship with the entitled douche, telling me he had sent them obscene and disgusting flirty messages while I was in relationships with these women. At this point, I must stress, these women don't know each other and had no way of communicating with each other. The most recent woman was part of a group the entitled douche and I were in on a karaoke app. I contacted the admins of the group to let them know what I'd found out. When questioned, the entitled douche told them I'd made it up and that the awesome dude and I were cyberbullying him. I actually got kicked out of the group because of this. The entitled douche blocked me and the awesome dude on all social media. So now, me and the awesome dude's online reputation is in tatters. The entitled douche started hosting the online quizzes on a pub's Facebook page. We saw this and chose to ignore these live streams, but then I chose to watch a little bit of one, and saw him accusing me and the awesome dude of cyberbullying him live on stream. The awesome dude was actually spending time with his family. So I contacted him and told him, and he managed to find the stream and get video proof of these accusations. When the fallout happened, the entitled douche accused us of never supporting him. If it wasn't for the awesome dude, he wouldn't even have a radio show. If I hadn't put my neck on the line for him multiple times, he would have been kicked out of the drama group for his terrible behaviour years before he left. When he did leave, he joined another drama group who rehearsed at the same time as his radio show. I ended up covering for him for 3 months. I'd do my 2-hour live radio show, then an hour later do his live 2-hour radio show. But apparently this was not enough support, and when I finally confronted him about how he flirted with every girlfriend I had during the times I was friends with him, he shrugged it off and said it's all in the past and he did nothing wrong. I lost it with him and told him to never talk to me again. He naturally again acted like the victim, and I got in trouble for supposedly bullying him or cyberbullying him. Now, I've got to end things here, but this is just a brief overview of 5 years of my experiences with this guy. Now, 7 months later, I'm still furious, and I'm still hurt by the way he treated me, especially after all I did for him. My family actually had experiences with him before I met him, and tried to warn me, but I didn't listen. I do have more stories if you guys are interested. Typing this out on Reddit has helped relieve some of the anger and hurt I've been feeling. I'm still trying to repair my credibility and my reputation after what the entitled douche said about me, but I know karma will catch up with him, and I just hope I'm there to witness it when it does. I'll tell you what, mate, when it's happening, the karma and all that you speak about, can you let me know? Because I want to come and watch as well. This guy sounds like an absolute monster. He's trying to get with 3 of your exes. What? Are you joking me? And he's your best mate? What? I mean, that's bad enough. Stealing from charity pub quizzes is pretty bad, and then all the other stuff as well. My God. What an incredible man, I have to say. He could be the worst person on the planet right now, genuinely. I mean, maybe he's not as bad as, like, you know, serial killers and that sort of stuff. Yeah, let me maybe retract that statement. But still, a pretty bad bloke. We have to agree on that. Jesus. You know what's so funny is that he's pretending to be your best friend, and then behind your back, he's messaging every single ex. That is just astonishing, really. You have to clap that, because that is just some saucy behavior. So manipulative, so two-faced, astonishing. Well done, that man. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you do want more from me right away, please do check out a couple more videos on screen. I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure they have, you know, entitled people that are as crazy as that last guy in them, but they'll still be quite fun. So give them a watch. If you are new around here, please like, subscribe, follow me on everything. I love you all, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one.